is the Pest Experience Show.
All right, all right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever state, whatever city that you are in right now. My name is Shof Babala Theophilos, and as you can see right on your screen, if you're listening to us directly from Inside Radio at www.insideradio.net, or you're watching us directly from YouTube, or you are also listening to us directly from LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I don't know, we're just everywhere. All right, so you can see my guests. But before I spill the cat out of the what's the grammar? Well, I spill the cat. But before I talk about my guest for today, let me first introduce the show. My name is Shof Babalazophilos, and this is the Pest Experience.
Hi there. I think I lost you. Okay, Shofu. I don't know if I'm actually live or if somehow we got disconnected here.
Effective strategy. We talk about German cockroaches in pest control industry, and right now we are looking at talking. We're talking about digital marketing, building a sustainable pest control marketing plan. As you can see now, we have a guest on the show tonight, and it's no other person than Mr. Casey Lewis. But I'm not just going to talk about him. I want him to introduce himself to you. So, welcome again, Mr. Casey Lewis. Welcome on the show.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me. I've looked forward to it. And I think our topics we're going to talk about today. So anything you want from me, just let me know. I'll be happy to share whatever information I have with your viewers.
Fantastic, fantastic. One reason why I brought Mr. Casey Lewis live on the show tonight is because I've been listening to his podcast, the Pest Control Marketing Domination podcast. Has been a wonderful, wonderful experience. I was like, who is this person behind? Who is this beautiful man, beautiful brain behind this wonderful podcast? I mean, I learn a lot. In fact, sometimes I get my jotters and I keep on jotting things, a lot of strategies, and it's given out for free on those kind of platforms. I'm like, oh no, my own audience needs someone like him on the show. So it's my own pleasure to bring you on the show to talk about it. Mr. Casey Lewis is the CEO of the Rhino Pest Control Marketing Pest Control Marketing and Media INC, and he's going to talk about every single thing that he's doing and every single thing that he has done in the pest control industry, and he has helped a lot of pest control businesses to stand, scale, and develop. I look forward to learning again this night, and my own audience, on the show, I've been looking forward to this amazing time right here to be able to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So this is a time for you. If you're listening to us directly from www.insideradio.net, all you need to do is to go to the chat box, let us know where you are joining from. And if you want to see the guest directly, if you want to watch us directly from the radio, from the studio directly, all you need to do is click on that YouTube button and you can be able to see the screen. But make sure you turn off your one of the audio, either from the audio from the YouTube or audio from the radio station. So just pick one, all right, just for you to see us directly on the radio station. So right now, this is the time for us to hear from Mr. Casey Lewis, the CEO of Rhino Digitals.
Well, thank you very much, and I very much appreciate the fact that you like the podcast. It's our podcast. It's an interesting situation because I got frustrated just listening to all the young people doing these podcasts, and they're selling software and they're selling stuff, and a lot of the information that they were putting out there, I honestly just didn't feel it was accurate. And I'm an old guy. I go back long before there was the internet, long before there was social media and smartphones and all this. And I grew up going door to door selling ads in the yellow pages, if you're familiar with the old yellow pages.
Yes.
And so I would work all day, every day with different business owners, mainly home service business owners like pest control companies, to help them get their marketing, get their advertising going. Now, after many years, I took over and I was overseeing nationwide all of the Yellow Pages sales. So I had outside sales, inside telephone sales, and we had call centers, about 4,000 salespeople. And we had a great relationship with the local business market. And then as time went on and Google came into play and kind of took that over, I just felt like there was just a lot of misinformation out there. And so I thought I can do this podcast. I'll go ahead and I'll just do a podcast and tell people what I think and what I'm doing. And so, anyways, that's what got us acquainted today. And I know that we want to talk about three basic things. You and I talked about this before this show. We talked about
Yeah.
for pest control website and its best practices, and then your Google tools, especially the free ones, not necessarily the
Yeah.
paid advertising, but the free tools and how you can use those to enhance your local presence. And then last, certainly not least, is how you use content and how you bring that in to build up your domain authority so that in local search for various search terms, you start to show up and you can get that organic search traffic so you don't always have to pay for it. Is that kind of what you're thinking about? Do you have any questions as we start to talk about a website?
Exactly. These are the three major concerns for every.
I think we got disconnected again. I don't see you. There we go.
Number.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I didn't see you there for a minute. I just saw myself.
Okay. So three major points are very much important. One is the website, and number two is the content plan, right? And number three is that the content plan can be done effectively if they have Google tools. And there are some Google operators need to start tapping into, which are even sometimes even free. Some of them are free. Maybe Google Workspace, you have to pay for it. Other tools are free. You just need to connect them with your website and all. And the most important thing is that these three things are interconnected to one another. You need a very good content for your website to stay. So these are the three major things that I want us to delve into. And when you gave me this topic, I was like, fantastic. This is something my own looking forward to learn and develop and put into practice in me to be able to get the results that. So let's dive into the ocean and let's get started.
Okay, so let's talk about your website. So I will tell you
Great.
that the main problem, the main thing that creates issues with a website is a misunderstanding, and people will put it together kind of like it's a brochure. So they think the homepage is the front, and then you come through it and you leaf through it. And that is not the way a website works at all. You have to get it clear in your head that a website is really nothing more than a collection of individual pages. And each one of those pages has an individual identity, which you optimize, and then it gets indexed by the search engine. Google being the main one. There's Bing, there's Yahoo, there's DuckDuckGo, there's others. But you need to understand that, because what you're doing when you're putting your website together, you really aren't trying to get the whole website to show up. What you're really trying to do is get individual pages. So one maybe for residential pest control, maybe one for cockroaches, maybe one for ants, maybe one for termites. So they're all different, and people will do search queries differently. And Google is always looking to match up a search query with a search page. So what I want to do first is talk about the structure of your website. Now, I can't show it to you, but any of your guests, Shofu, or I can get over to you. We have some guides that lay this out from the home page across to all of the service pages you need, all of the target pest pages you need, all of the location and site pages you need on your website. And then once you create your structure, so it's your blueprint, it's your layout, your design, and it's not important really necessarily how pretty the pages are. It's more important how organized they are so they show up in search. And then you need to also think about, you're going to be working on a full-size website. But what's the most important thing for that website? The most important thing is that it shows up on your mobile phone, because 75% or more of the use is going to be on your mobile devices. So as the optimization and all the page and domain authority is really accomplished at a page level, it's really so that it shows up on the mobile phone, which is where the vast majority of all the activity is happening, and it's getting bigger and bigger all the time with voice search and with all of these things. Now, when you design and create your structure, you're then going to start
True.
one page at a time. So let's just say we're going to start with one page, and that page is going to be for cockroach control in your main city. You're going to go through that, and you're going to put together your optimization or your SEO. And that SEO is going to really revolve around a few things. One is going to be the slug, which is the extension of your URL on that page. The other is going to be the page title itself, how well that page title is constructed within the context of the content that's on that page. And then we're going to get into alt tags. So all of the images on the page actually are named. So Google, which is an algorithm, is able to scan them and determine what they are. And then we're also going to have a meta description, which is a short, about 162 characters description of exactly what it is that's on that page. And all of our keywords, from the URL slug, the meta description, the page title, the image alt tags, all of that is going to be centered around a keyword strategy that is only for that page. And then when we get into the actual content on that page, that content for that one page, we want it to be 800 to 1,000 words. And we want it to be centered around that single topic. So in this case, it may be just cockroach control, the different types of cockroach we may have in our area, any of the information we need, so that people may be seeking it. If we have a video link, that's a good place to put it. Now, were you able to understand all of that, Shofu? It seems like, did I cut out in the middle of that?
No. I got that correctly. Search engine optimization is very much important. For the audiences that are actually listening, if you're listening from Facebook, YouTube, or directly from Insight Radio, please, you can drop in your comments, your questions, your queries, in the chat box directly from YouTube. Just go straight down to the chat, drop in your questions there. If you can hear us directly, just even let us know what. If you can even hear us now, let us know your name of your company and where you are listening to us from, so we can know that you are here and you are live with us directly. And also, if you're listening directly on the radio, which is www.insightradio.net, you can use the chat box, and I would read out your question for Mr. Casey Lewis, so he can be able to provide effective answers to those questions. So, okay, we can hear you correctly, right? So they can hear you. Good. Let's
That's
continue.
good. Do you have just out of curiosity, that was a very high level overview of a website structure and then how a single page is going to be optimized. Do you have any questions? Do you understand that? I know that's a lot of information to take in. I don't necessarily expect that your users or your listeners would all necessarily know how to do that. But I think what's extremely important is
True.
they understand what should be done. So if they have a developer or they have
Exactly.
a marketing company, they can ask them, hey, are these things getting done? Do I have a keyword strategy? Do I have all of the various components for a page optimization strategy? Do I have any links that are coming back to that page from any of my other content, maybe blogs, things like that, which we'll talk about in a minute? But do you have any questions around that?
True. So, majorly, I think from my own end, right? Because I am also a digital marketer and I consult with brands. So these things are very much alike to me. But in every website, there is a need for an infrastructure. There is a need to have a content plan for the website. And if all this content plan is put into play, there is a need for optimizing the content. So if we have
That's
a
correct.
content now, how do these clients personally optimize this content, or do they need to have a developer always to be able to update their websites, number one, and optimize the content? Because optimizing the content is important than even having the content plan. Than even having the content. But having a plan to optimize the content would help the content grow faster. That's why I said optimizing the content is very much important. So,
That's
how do
correct.
they do the optimization of this content? Yes.
Generally speaking, when we work with our clients, we work together on it. So oftentimes, for example, the pest control owner, he may know the best. So we'll have him rough it out for us. We'll make sure that there's the proper
Mm.
keyword density. So what you don't want to do is have too many
Okay.
keywords, or you can actually
Too
get
many
a
keywords.
penalty. So you're using about, somewhere between about a 4 or 5% density total keywords. But then we will actually take and rewrite that. And then another important piece, and in part of your content strategy, is then when you have, let's say again, we're talking about that one page for cockroach. Then you have a group of blog articles, maybe YouTube videos, um, and other types of things like that content, and you're building that in a cluster of information, and that information is specifically geared towards that topic cluster, in this case cockroaches. You then want to also start to um, link all those articles back to that content, original site page for cockroaches. And the reason for that is that site page will start to function as what we commonly refer to as a pillar page. And a pillar page is a very specific page that's optimized for a certain level of content. And then when you start bringing in links from other sources to it, you get bonus credits, and it really helps to build that organic search indexing for that page dramatically. That makes sense?
Mm. Yeah, you're saying that it's very important for everyone to have too many pages, but keywords, less too clumsy keywords, similar keywords. Is that correct?
Not necessarily
Hmm.
less, but very, very, very focused keywords. And then when you're writing your
Okay.
content, you want the written content, and it's even more important now than ever because the content is now getting more and more about the intent of the content than it is about the keywords. What Google really is trying to
Exactly.
do when someone does a keyword search query, or just a search query, a search, it can be, who's the best cockroach exterminator in my area? What they're looking to do is
True.
to really try to match that up with good results so that the experience that the search
Hmm.
person uses when they get to the next person, or when they get to that result, they click it and they call, they want that to be a good experience. So they really are trying to match that up. So what you want is a lot of content that's very specific to a specific topic, that when somebody looks for that, that's what they're going to match up. And then what you do is you build up several different columns of content based on topic, based on a topic cluster. So cockroaches, termites, ants, spiders, and you write lots of
Okay.
content for each. And see, this is the thing, Shofu, what have you have to be patient,
Yes.
and you have to stick with it, and you have to keep doing it because it takes a while for it all to work. It won't happen after
True.
3 pieces of content. It may take 50. But once that you get
Hmm.
there, once that you have that content out there, once it's indexing, once Google sees, remember when you do a blog article on your website, that is actually a new
Okay.
URL. That's a new page of content. Google
Yes.
sees it as
Yes.
new,
Yes.
fresh content. That's why you want to be putting those out there once, twice, even 3 days a week if you can find the patience to sit down or get somebody that's good at it that will do it for you. Does that make sense?
Yes. So you're recommending that the content on every website at least 3 times in a week.
Well, yeah, I would love to see it if you can. If you can. Now, again, there's a fine line between you don't want to just throw it out there and do lousy
Anyhow.
work because you're just trying to go fast. You still want it all to be
Okay.
good quality content. But if you could do 3 articles a week and have 3 separate topic clusters. So say you have ants, spiders, and cockroaches. And every week you write 1 article about ants, 1 article about spiders, 1 article about cockroaches. And you just keep doing that. 3 articles, so it's one for each week. What you want to do is get each topic cluster to a point that there's about 20 pieces of individual content or more for each. And now it starts to show
Okay.
up all over the search. And it also gives great authority to that original page with that they're all linking back to. That make you understand what I'm
Fantastic.
saying?
That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. So now, the present industry market, this is optimization. This is business optimization, and most of these companies would want to even out consultants, right, to be able to do the optimization because they don't want to do is to generate sales. How converting to me, or how much is it going to make investment in the website? So now, what are the
Well,
major features?
no, what
What
I
are the
was going
major
to say,
features that are
let me tell you what we do. So when we first get connected with a client or even a prospect, the first thing we do, we actually use a product and it's called Screaming Frog. And you can get a free version of it. It will crawl your website and it will actually show you how your pages are being searched by Google and other search engines on the internet. So you can look at your meta descriptions, you can look at your H1 tags, you can see if you have any alt tags, you can get your H1 tags, you can get all this information. What I say is this: when you go to Screaming Frog, you look at your website and you just go to the page titles and just look at them, and then you can see those with the meta descriptions. If it doesn't make sense to you, if it looks like it was not done with a real plan in place, then you don't have the right person you're working with, or whoever's doing it doesn't know what they're doing. So what you want to do is
exactly?
2 things. You want to be able to hire somebody to do this for you and do it well,
Okay.
but you also, as the owner, you want to be involved and understand what the strategy is. So for cockroaches, for ants,
Exactly.
for city number 1, for city number 2, what is and what are you doing so that these pages get indexed and work? Because when all that's done, when your website's
Hmm.
done, it's built, it's optimized, and it's up and it's live. That's just the beginning. It's not the end. What you
Hmm.
need to do then is
Exactly.
every month you have to monitor, manage, and observe the individual page performance. And the reason
Hmm.
for that, I'll tell you why. All of these SEO gurus who think they know everything, what they don't really want to tell you is there is no real
Okay.
science. A lot of it is trial and error, and a lot of it is just experimenting. So, for example, we
Hmm.
have many pest control websites throughout the United States. You would
Hmm.
think we could optimize every one of them the same way. It should be the same, right?
Hmm.
Well, sometimes in Georgia, the words we choose are very different in California or very different in Florida. And when you get into words like pest control and exterminators, sometimes some words work really well and sometimes they don't. And there's no real reason for it. Nobody knows why. So you have to experiment, you have to keep working on it, and you have to keep managing that individual page performance so you can see what's working and what's not working. You can play with it and adjust it. And as an owner, that's not something you want to have to do. I mean, that's like me when my pest control guy comes over. I don't want to walk around with him and look. I mean, that's his job. What I do want to do though is understand. I do want to understand what should he be doing. He's doing the perimeter. He's going to do the little boxes where the water controls are and all these things. So what I'm saying is, go get Screaming Frog. Just enter in your URL and then go look at it. And when you go look at it, let me see if I can I show you. You want me to show you something? Because I can bring up something here to show your audience if they can see it. And let's see here. I'll go to applications. So it's called Screaming Frog SEO Spider. Okay. And what it is, you can get a free version, you can get a paid version. I'll just bring up this free version here.
Okay.
And then I'll show you. Let me just see if I can get this to pop up. And let me get out of here. Back over here to where you are. And I'll share my screen.
Okay, so for people that are listening directly from the radio at www.insightradio.net,
they can't see it?
Yes, they can't see it, but they can see it if they can click on the Studio Live Pest Experience Show. There is a play button. Just click on it and you'll be able to see us directly, be able to see this this practical session. But please make sure you turn off the sound either from the YouTube, which is either from the sound coming from the YouTube, or turn off directly from the radio, so you don't have an overlapping voice. All right.
So let me can you see my screen? Can you see Screaming Frog right now?
Yes, perfect. I can see it now. It's live now.
Okay. Let me just show you. I'll bring up one of the websites that we work with. Okay. And so you put your URL in here and you just hit start. And on the free one, it's only going to go up to 500 pages. So if you have more than 500 pages, you're only going to get the first 500 pages. But you see, what it's doing is it's actually out there and it's crawling this website.
Scrolling into the page. Yes.
Yeah. And what you see is initially is just all of the pages, and we'll let it load. Right up here, you see it's loading. It's at 28%, 29%.
Wow.
This is actually a pretty big. This is actually a pretty big website. They're out of Nashville, Tennessee.
Fantastic.
And
so now,
telling me, go ahead.
Yeah. So now, if all this optimization is done correctly, what are also the major features that need to be on the website to be able to increase conversion and increase sales? Because that's the language that most of our owners understand, is the ROI, is the sales. How much clients am I getting? How much leads am I generating? What are the major features do you think would be on the website?
Well, I'll answer that. Let me just show you this. So you see this?
Okay. Yes.
Now, shortly, if you look at this, I'll bring this up a little bit. You can see that each one of these pages, all of these pages, all of them has a very good descriptive individual page title.
Yes.
Then you go to the meta description and you will see each of those meta descriptions is written to go with the URL, to go with the page title.
With the page title.
Do you know what an H1 tag is?
Yes, the header.
Yeah, the H1 tag is in the content on the
Yes,
page, and what it really is, it's the main tag,
the main
and it
tag.
tells Google what the page is. So you can see chiggers, bees, mosquitoes, rodents, spiders, ants,
Fantastic.
etc. Okay, now when you're talking about, and I'll stick with this account, when you're
Okay,
talking about now that we get them on the page, okay. So let's just say we get them on a page here, and let's just say we have, we'll go ants in Antioch, right? What you'll see here is the
exactly.
very first,
What a wonderful infrastructure.
what?
I said,
I
what
didn't
a
hear.
wonderful infrastructure, because I can see the design because it has a step by step process. I can see areas we serve, then you switch down to the ant control, which is what you explained before. Like a website must have a very good infrastructure and a design plan, which is
Well,
very, very good.
well, nowadays, remember, so like right here, now we have a phone number or a text
Ex-
number.
exactly. Okay.
You can schedule right now with a form. So I can go
Okay.
right here and get my coupons and fill out with a form. You also have
Fantastic.
this. So I also have a web chat. So you can chat with me anytime, send me a message. We can also do some AI here. We don't do a lot of that because I don't really like it, but you can do some
Okay.
AI here as
All
well, you
right.
know. And then you'll see here's a short form, submit. And then as you go down the page, here's another form here. As we go down
Great.
the page, here's a contact us, here's a phone number. So you're constantly giving them an opportunity to call you or contact you. And this is really important when you're on a cell phone, because what we say on the cell phone is, oops, I almost disconnected. When we say what we say on a cell phone, and I call it being thumb friendly. Phones get used a lot like this, and you're kind of flipping through. Let me see if I can show you. You're kind of flipping through like this with your thumb. And so, what we want is the phone, you to be able to just go like this. And when you use it, you want to be able to click, call, or you can go voice and say, hey, find me a pest control company in my area. All of those
Fantastic.
things need to work. Not one of them, all of them. So we want web chat and messaging, we want
Yes.
texting, we want form fills, we want phone calls, all of it
Mhm.
on every single page, everywhere we go throughout the site. Because at the end of the day, all we care about is that we get the conversion, the opportunity to sell them some pest
Exactly.
control service, right?
Exactly.
Now, that actually kind of moves me right into Google Tools. And I know I don't want to take too much of your time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna set, so the free Google tools, the ones that are probably the most important to you. One is
Okay.
your Google business profile, which includes your maps listings, that also includes your Google reviews. Very
Very
important.
important.
I just read this morning, Moz is saying that on an organic local search page for pest control,
Okay.
over 40% of all of the actual responses or activity go to the Google Maps listing, the 3-pack. That's
Wow.
how well it works. That's
How
above
well it works.
local service ads, that's above pay per click, that's above organic, that's above everything. So very, very, very
Hmm.
important. Then you have to connect into your website, and it's not a hard thing to do. You want to connect Google Search Console. And Google
Wow.
Search Console will give you very basic, simple analytic information to tell you how you're doing with your website in terms of day-to-day traffic, in terms of those that are finding you on the internet, in terms of those that are calling and clicking. So, excuse me, it gives you a lot of very good information. Then you have Google Analytics. Now, Google
Okay.
Analytics just the on the 4th or 5th of July switched to the new GA4.
GF4.
Now, GA4 was created to replace the old Universal or UA analytics. And the reason was the old one was so complicated, so complex, that
Actually.
80% of it didn't even get used. So now they've created this GA4, and we've just started working with it. The conversion connection looks pretty good. You can create events, so you
Fantastic.
can
I've not
find
even checked
out.
it out.
What's that?
I said I've not checked it out, but I know it exists. I've not started using it.
No, you have to, because it'll tell you everything. It'll tell you which pages they're clicking on, the way that they're maneuvering their way through your website. It's extremely good. Then last but not least, and this is just depending really whether you're a Microsoft guy or not, is Google Workspace will, you don't want to necessarily use a Gmail account, a residential Gmail account, if you're operating a business and using your email. So Google Workspace, it is Gmail, but it's Google's business Gmail, and you set it up on your domain, and you get all the Google apps and everything. So calendar, the drive, all of the docs, everything there. And that one you pay for, and I think now it might be the light version. I think is $6 or $7 monthly for each user. But Google, when you go back to Google Business Profile,
yes,
and this is again one of these messages all relate to your viewers and your listeners. If you're lazy and you don't do anything, don't expect anything to happen.
Exactly. It's just a way of karma. You won't get any results.
Now, Google Business, if you go set up a Google Business Profile and you do it right, and you put pictures on there, and you fill out all the information, and you post to it every week, and you answer the reviews, and you answer the messages, and you manage it all the time, I promise you, as soon as you get enough reviews, and you have to get maybe 50 reviews or more, you really do. But once you get to that point, you start showing up in that 3-pack. I have some clients right now that their 3-pack, their Google Business Profile, outperforms their paid advertising.
Wow.
So even though they're paying to get the links, to get the clicks, to get the leads, to get the sales, the fact of the matter is people use and rely upon that Google 3-pack. That's why if you look at it today, you will start to see that they're now selling one ad inside the 3-pack. So now there's sometimes 4 listings in there. Well, why do you think that is? That's very simple to figure out. That's because their free Google 3-pack is outperforming their pay-per-clicks, and they've got to do something about it. So I hope they don't ruin it. It's a great, great opportunity. As I said, your Search Console, you simply install a piece of snippet code at your DNS records if you know where to find those. If you don't, you just get together with your web developer and you tell them you need to put some code into your DNS files so that you can set up Google Search Console. If you have a web developer that doesn't know what that means and doesn't know how to do it, get somebody else, because you don't want to be dealing with that person. And so this is a very, very big issue that we could do, 4 hours just on this, and I won't. But that's the main thing. Get your Google Business Profile set up, fill out all of it, stay on top of it, go into it all the time and update, put posts in there, set up some of your special offers. If you offer a mosquito special, if you do different things, if you do rodent exclusion, for example, if you do the actual work, put those together and post that out on your Google Business Profile each and every week. Does that make sense, Show Food? Do you have any questions of
Makes
me?
sense. Fantastic. So we don't have any question in the chat box. I'm really hoping that we have our audience to have their questions, because I think this is a lot of content here. So we have Smartwash saying nice one. Thank you very much, Smartwash. Then we also have Precious from Agbo. I think that's from Ibadan in Nigeria, listening directly from the radio site. and we have more other people listening. So please let us know where you are listening from and your name of your brand. If you're a pest control operator, if you're an homeowner, and you just want to learn about how to implement digital marketing, click on the chat box and sign in with your name. You don't need to sign in with anything more than your name. And if you're listening directly on YouTube, just let us know if you have any questions or if you have any concerns with every single thing that Mr. Casey Lewis has said. Number one, he talked about optimizing your content, and there is no magic in doing these things. There is no magic in generating the results that you really want to generate. There is no strategy than proper implementation and consistency. Consistency. Keep putting your own best into your craft, putting a lot of content out there every single day, even to the application of Google tools like Google Workspace, Google My Business. It's your own information that you put out there that would help you generate the results that you are looking forward to. So your consistency, your tenacity in this, the same way you put it in your business, put it in your online business too, because digital marketing, building your business online, it's a different office entirely, right? And I'm saying this because I'm also a consultant, and I have people, okay, this is smartwatch from Ibadan. Smartwatch, I see you. Good evening. How you doing, sir? And also we have Vival Cleaning Pro from Lagos. Also we have Olaoye. All right. Thank you very much for listening. Also, you can also see our guests directly. Just click on the YouTube button directly on the sites and you'll be able to watch us directly. Or just sign in with your name and sign in with your questions and let us know, if you have any question. Okay, so another aspect which has to do with every single thing that we have listed, from the website to the Google tools to the Google My Business, there is an information that goes there, and that's content. What are the contents do pest control operators need to put on the website? How do they get this content? In your breakdown, we're going to talk about content calendar, but before we go into content calendar, we need to first know what content. What are the major contents that should be on the website or on their social media accounts or their platforms and all? Yes.
So absolutely. So that's a great, so the last part of this discussion, we're going to talk about content. So content, we really start with, it revolves around three things: blog articles, videos, short videos, so 60 to 90-second videos, and then also social media posts. Now, when you ask about that content, this is the area you probably want to have some professional help to write content to make sure it's good. Again, and it doesn't have to be too expensive, because writing about bugs, writing about various topics around pest control, again, it's not that complex. It's not scientific or technical in nature, most of it. Now, the question then becomes, how do you put it together? So a blog article in our mind is 800 words or so. It needs to be around that, a little bit more. And within that blog article, you should always try to have links that reference good information where you're getting it from. And you always want to backlink it back to a page on your website. And that gets back to where we talk about when you put a content calendar together, you're going to break it down by topics. So again, I'll go back to ants, spiders, cockroaches, and then you will create, what do you want your title to be for each of those particular articles? And that title is what turns into your H1 tag for your optimization. Okay. So that is really how you're going to do a blog article. Now, a video can simply be something very similar to that blog article, but with somebody talking about it and then somebody using B-roll that they're coming in. So as you're talking about this, there's maybe some video B-roll that's coming in and out. So again, it's talking about getting some stuff edited. You can get things video edited. Even if you get really jammed up, you can go to fiverr.com if you have to, and pay some of these guys over in India that'll do this stuff, for $20. They'll edit it all together, put an intro, an outro, etc. But that's really what you want to do. Then the same thing. So this content calendar blog articles, video content, and now you've got social media posts, all kind of working together in week by week with the same basic topics, same sort of look and feel, and then you post those out. Now, we actually use a product here that is called Sendable. And Sendable, it's like Hootsuite or like some of these other softwares where you can connect all your social media together, and you can go in there, you can create your posts, create everything you need, and then you can post it out, and it goes out to everywhere. And then you can actually get to the point where you're scheduled out maybe 2 weeks in advance. So that way you're not always trying to work everything that you want to post today. You're not necessarily working all that just today. You're already a couple weeks out, so you can
put everything together.
Get a little bit better. But that is how we manage our content. That is how we keep it flowing at a consistent level. That's how we use it to get things posted on a regular basis. And it's very, very important because, as I said, we call this sweat equity. This is all the organic free side. Now, you could also be buying some advertising in the meantime while all this is getting going. But if you work at this, Shofu, and you stick with it and you do it for 2 or 3 or 4 years, you will dominate in your marketplace. I promise you, because nobody else is going to have the patience to do it. Exactly. That's why when we go out into the market, we're always looking for one customer in each marketplace who wants to dedicate him or herself to go out and dominate that market. If they do it, if they stick with it, if they stay with the game plan, they will dominate because nobody else is going to do it.
Fantastic. Because I think you've delved into the major aspect that needs to be put in place for every businesses to be able to generate the results that you have been looking forward to generate. Number one is the website, and number two is your content. And you've actually given a total summary of a whole digital marketing class. Number one is optimizing your content. You've given us a practical view about optimizing the content, and you've given us a breakdown. Yes. You want to say something?
Sorry, I was just going to say, we also have I have free guides on our website if anybody wants to go get them.
Okay.
It will break down all of these things we're talking about, but in much more detail. So they can have a guide to go do it if they want to go do it themselves.
Okay, great. So how do my listeners, how do they get the guides now?
They just go to Rhino pestcontrolmarketing.com, and it's all there. And let me see if do you want me to spell it?
Fantastic. That's
I don't know where to put it in.
You should be able to put it in the. Let me see. But Rhino Digitals. Let me see for my.
It's Rhino Pest Control Marketing.
Get that from my end, yeah.
Did you see that? I don't know if it looks like it's private, so I don't know if anybody else can see it.
Okay, I can copy it. You can
paste that, yeah.
Yes, I can put that from my own end here. I mean, it's been a wonderful time here talking about operators need to put into their own business to be able to generate the results. But let me also, can you see that in the screen now? Okay, good.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah. So let me also give opportunity for people who are willing to call on the show directly. Maybe they want to ask their questions and talk to you directly. We have the opportunity to do that this night. I have a few minutes before we wrap it up.
I have about 15 more minutes.
So let me just call out the phone line.
Okay.
Exactly. So we still have more time. Let's see if we could take up some phone calls. And this is the time for people to call in. This is the phone line, 091-6967-1279. 091-6967-1279. That's the phone lines to call in on the show. If you have any particular question that you want to ask in terms of your digital marketing, in terms of how you can increase your revenue stream, how you can develop much more better, how you can pull up your branding effectively. We have two consultants here, one from the UK and one from Nigeria. All right. To be able to answer your question. So the phone lines to call is 091 So that's it right now for your screen. I'll be expecting your phone calls right now. So you've spoken about optimization, you've spoken about beautiful content, and you've spoken about, but there's a part I think we are not looking at that part. I don't know, because it was not part of the breakdown of what you want us to talk about, but I want us to digress a little bit into that. That's social media.
Right.
What social media platform would you recommend for a pest control company? And
Well,
why?
The one we recommend primarily is Facebook and Instagram. And
Great.
primarily because, now, social media people have to be careful with, because everybody wants to promote social media that they're an expert and they know everything. The fact of the matter is, Facebook and Instagram, they're really the same company now. People that are
Great.
on Facebook and Instagram are not there like they are on Google looking for pest control company. So when you're on social media, you're really trying to use it more in two ways: as a brand awareness campaign. So,
Okay.
and to do it right, you have to spend money anymore, because they won't show it on any timelines like they used to. So you have you run sort of generic, if you will, brand awareness type ads, in my opinion. And then you can run promotions for things like mosquito care in the summer and fleas, maybe rodents in the winter. But you have different
Okay.
things, and you're just running these, and then you have them go to a tracking landing page, so you can track any results you get. Then you track the calls,
Okay.
track the messages. But we use social media really, with our strategy with our clients, as somewhat of a making sure it's a backup to make sure that you look good, that you have more reviews there, that
Okay.
you're solidified as a legitimate local business. But honestly, it's not going to compete with the directories and the search engines where people are looking for pest control. It's very different.
Exactly. You made mention of something now before I asked this question that just came in on the chat box on the radio directly. One thing is directory listing, and I want to lay emphasis on this directory listing because most of pest control operators, especially in the African market, we overlook a lot of directory listing, and we don't implement them in our business. What I mean by directory listing is something like GG or list for Nigerians. GG or list, those are local directory listings that you can put your businesses there for free without paying a dime, because people would go onto those platforms, and they would search for brands, they would search for products, they would search for services. And there is this common one in Nigeria, which is Vis Corner. Those are local directory listings that pest control operators needs to actually take advantage of tonight. So now I saw a message on the chat box directly from the radio. He said, "Can one blog around a cluster of more than 3 topics on pest control service?"
Say that again. What's the blog
Can
cluster he's talking?
can one blog around a cluster of more than 3 topics on pest control service? So I guess the question is, can she or can the company write up a content about 3 different topics, but there is a cluster? I think the same consistent topic 3 times. I guess
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
question. If
So the only
I want to
reason you're
believe that's the
doing
question.
so the only reason you're doing clusters, here's what I want her to understand, is what typically happens. So somebody
Okay.
starts to blog and they don't know what they're doing. So they just start randomly thinking up different articles, and they write different articles, and they do a lot of work. But
Yes.
none of them ranks, none of them index, none of them shows up, because they don't have any domain authority over one article.
Mm.
And And what I mean by that is one topic. And
Okay.
so they'll quit. They'll stop. Just like videos. You can go to any of these YouTube channels, you'll see they did 4 videos and they just quit. It's 5 years ago and they gave up. So the reason you're doing topic clusters, particularly in pest control, think about you can have ants, bees, wasps, you can have scorpions, termites, spiders, on and
Yes.
on and on. And if you write one article for each, it's not enough. You need 20 for each.
Exactly.
But if you go horizontal, you're going to have to write 2,000 articles. So you're better to start vertically in 1 and 2 and 3. And the reason I say is each week, if you just go across in each of those 3 columns and you write one article and then one article and then one, it won't take very long where each of those basic individual clusters now has several pieces of content, and all of a sudden they start to show up. And your content, you don't have to go crazy. You can write content, let's just say for spiders.
Yes.
That's very similar. It just has a different subject title. It has a little bit different structure, but you can repurpose that content and write it very similar over and over again. Oh yes. It's a very good strategy. Again,
Fantastic.
and then once again, each one has links. Now you don't want to make it exactly the same, but it can be similar. For example, we have written over and over and over content on the single topic of, do spiders crawl on you at night?
Wow.
And the reason for it, there's a lot of traffic, so it gets a lot of good authority, so it works really well. And
Fantastic.
So we've written variations on that same basic concept because there's a lot of activity around that keyword, and so you get a lot of action when you publish it.
Wow. So basically, it's just you understanding the data analytics and the results that this content that you posted before is generating before you can be able to understand that, okay, I need to put more effort in this type of content and I need to repeat it, but maybe write it in a much more better way. That's a fantastic one. So we just have 3 more minutes to wrap up the show tonight, or maybe just 2 more minutes. So before we end up the show tonight, I mean, it's been a wonderful journey and discussing a lot of things that has to do with digital marketing. With all those 3 major points that you've diverted and implemented and in fact dissected it, what are the last parting words that you would give our audience tonight? What they can implement right away. What would you recommend?
So I'll tell you what I would recommend.
Yes.
And I say this, step back, get a piece of paper and a pencil, write down all of the things you need to check on your website to make sure it's done right, check it off. If it's not done, get it fixed, whether you have to do it yourself, whether you have to talk to your developer, or whether you have to get somebody new to get it fixed. Go get your Google tools set up tomorrow. And we'll start with Google Business Profile. So Google My Business is now called Google Business Profile.
Oh, yes.
Go get it set up. Go get your pictures. Put your pictures in there. Put your logo in there and start to post to it each and every week. If you don't have any kind of artwork software, go get a free version of Canva. And you can use Canva to create some simple posts and just get started. Exactly. Last but not least, pick out the 2 or 3 topics which make you the most money. Whatever that is. So in your case, it might be fumigation.
True.
Okay.
Yes.
It might be termite treatment. It might.
Yes.
Then go online and pretend you're a customer and go searching. And look at what all the content is out there that comes up first. And then go create content that's very similar to that. Because yours will then come out as well. And the reason for that, Google's matching that up because that's a high traffic search query. And then you can click on those and go look at what the competition's doing. Go see what they're doing and do everything they're doing better than they are. And that's the best I can leave you.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful journey. We are just I just really can't thank you enough. Thank you very much for the wonderful experience. So this is the time to wrap up the show right now. So thank you all for listening directly on the radio side. Thank you for joining tonight on this Pest Experience show. Have a wonderful night rest. Please note that you can sponsor this particular program, the Pest Experience program, or if you want to place an advert placement, all you need to do is to call 090-178-27767, or you send us an email at info@insideradio.net. For any questions or inquiries, please send us an email at info@insideradio.net. Go have a wonderful night rest.
This is the Pest Experience.